I quickly wanted to go over how to do roller adjustment in the XZ connector. So that's for the X-axis and the Z-axis. Here we have a Stepcraft D-Series 300. It's been assembled by us. We use it in our demo room, and it's pretty solid. The table moves, but the machine does not move. So, what does a loose machine look like? Well, something like this. So this is, as you can see, a very, very wobbly machine. Imagine our spindles here. This is all the movement we're getting when you're trying to take a pass. That's obviously no good. So it's pretty simple to fix. Take a 2.5 L key, and there are two spots. The first one is these two holes here on the XZ connector, and this aligns the rollers for the Z-axis. The other two, a little harder to see, they're actually underneath the X-axis, and they are at the bottom of the XZ connectors. Those control the tension on the X-axis rollers. So all we need to do is give these rollers a nice tighten, and the machine should be solid. Now it's important to tighten just enough but not over tighten them, as you can damage the rollers and the extrusion. To do so, you simply tighten till it's hand tight, or you can feel some resistance, and then go half a turn tighter. Again, you can do it more by feel. Just kind of move the machine as you tighten. It should get tighter. Tighten until there's no movement, but there's not, you're not cranking down on your tool. Now, there will be some back and forth movement if you do not have the anti-backlash nuts. This is normal, that's called backlash. But you don't want any of these sort of axial rocking movement. There should be no tilt here. That's what we want to get rid of. So now I'll start with my X-axis rollers. So these are underneath the X extrusion. It's important to remember that if you're facing the front of the machine, when you're tightening from the bottom, to tighten is actually counterclockwise, and to loosen is clockwise. So it's a little bit disconcerting. Now it may feel like it's super, super loose, but it feels tight. Often what's happening is you are turning clockwise to tighten, and it's actually bottomed out on that washer and won't move any further. So it's just important to keep in mind when doing your X-axis roller tension. Now, as you can see, as we go tighter, it tends to rock more on one side than the other. This is because the rocking is usually isolated to the side that's looser, meaning it's pretty easy to diagnose which side is looser and which side needs readjustment. Now our X-axis is tight. Now you still see movement, but if you look closely, that movement is all in your Z-axis, and you can check the movement in your X by actually holding the XZ connector. There's no movement there. And as long as your lead screw is turnable by hand and smooth, your rollers should be all set. So now we will move on to the X tension. So now we'll move on to doing the Z-axis roller tensions. So they're on the side here. They're on the right of the machine if you're facing the front where the red E-stop is. So I just hand tighten and a little bit more, about a quarter turn, sometimes a little bit less. Now every machine that we build here in-house is rigorously tested before going out. So it's very rare to see roller tension misaligned on a pre-built, but it's important to remember to set your roller tension early on. I believe the first time it's set is in step 2.2 of the manual, as it will make the assembly process a lot easier and give you way less of a headache later on. Now we're all set. As you can see, there's no tilting in either axes. The table does move, the machine is pretty rigid, and it's always important to double check that you can still turn this lead screw freely. There's a little bit of grease on there, but still turns just fine. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you with your machine's roller tension.